If you guys clicked on this video looking for the best decks for the N/R event, then you've come to the right place. Hey everybody, this is Tom Box, and welcome to another video on Master Duel here on MST.TV, and today I'm going to share with you guys the sauce of the N/R Festival event, which are 5 different deck lists that have been tested on my stream. And before we pop into this list, just make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button, hit subscribe, and ding that notification bell for more MST.TV Yu-Gi-Oh content. And let's jump to this. At number 5, we have Danger Mekk-Knight Graydle Kaiju. This is a mashup of all of the best going second decks smashed into one deck, or at least whatever that's left of them in this particular event. At its core, this is an aggro deck with a lot of big beat stick monsters, so you do want to go second so that you can go for game as quickly as possible. You do have some level of utility with a little bit of a Tenyi package, mainly the Vishuda there to just bounce away any problematic back row card or front row card for that matter, which makes it really useful. And the Adhara is there just to recycle that same play over and over again, just in case you need, an Omni removal for anything on the field. But if that's not enough and you want to play with your extra deck, we do have a rank 8 spam core, and for the normal/rare event, I would have to say the rank 8 Draglubion package is probably the best thing you got, because first of all, it's a 3k beat stick that's not targetable, and that's going to make it very hard for anyone to kind of remove this, especially with trap cards. You're going to have to use some non-targeting stuff, which is not as common when it comes to this particular rarity. For the main deck, we already talked about the Tenyi monsters, but for the Graydle, we have Graydle Cobra, 3 of in there, because if you destroy this monster by battle, you get to equip it onto your opponent's monster and then take it over, and you don't even give it back when the Cobra is destroyed from the spell and trap zone. You destroy their monster. This is a one-way interaction. There is no refund when it comes to this play. And in the case that you can't take control of your opponent's monster because, I don't know, they're like immune to targeting or something, what you do is you throw a Kaiju on that. Make sure you align the columns properly so that you can work it with your Mekk-Knight monsters as well, so you can get that Mekk-Knight summon on top. Then you crash into your own Kaiju, take your Kaiju back, and now you get to swing directly with it. So that's kind of what we're going for in terms of taking control of the game. And the Mekk-Knights themselves, as long as you can align the columns, and the Tenyis also help with that, because the Tenyi gets a free special summon, and you can summon the Tenyi Monk into the extra monster zone. Because of that, you can pretty easily set a card in that same column and then summon out your Mekk-Knight. So that's kind of how that works. You also have like quick ways to summon out your Mekk-Knights through the World Legacy Memories, I believe, and you also have World Legacy Keys and your World Legacy Secrets. Secrets is like your Call of the Haunted to revive any of your level 5 or higher monsters. That includes like your Danger monster. So in case that you threw away your Danger Thunderbirds in the graveyard, you can revive them as well. And we have a couple of traps in here. Torrential Tribute. We have the Dinomischus from the Paleozoic traps. So you got like all the utility you need and all the removal you need to win the game. Deck number 4, it's going to be Xyz Gadgets. If you like playing with your extra deck, then this is going to be the deck for you, because most of the win con is going to live in there. This is a rank 4 and 8 spam deck, and a lot of these have really wonderful utility to remove stuff off of the field or maintain some level of advantage to kind of shut off plays from your opponent. In terms of the main deck, it's mainly a machine-focused deck where you have your red gadget, yellow gadget, green gadget there to search out each other so you can maintain card advantage upon the normal or special summon of these monsters. But you also have the gold and silver gadget to help you tether out multiple monsters out of your hand, so that really works out for you so that you can quickly go into your rank 4 spam. But on top of that, you have another level of consistency thanks to heavy forward, and you can search out your Infinitrack monster, mainly Infinitrack Anchor Drill. That particular monster can target another machine on the field and combine their levels, and both monsters become the combined levels so that you can go into a quick rank 8. And since most of your machines are level 4 and it's level 4, that makes for pretty scary Draglubion plays. And you also have pretty decent hand traps such as Menko. Menko, if your opponent declares a direct attack, and summon out this card and then put every single monster your opponent controls into defense position. It really works out unless they're running links. And then you just run a bunch of standard back row. You also have the option of running Astrotopia. Okay, if you're running this card, this is kind of expensive because, first of all, Astrotopia is not craftable, and same with the Numbers Protection. They both come in the same set, which is a structure deck, and that's going to be the Utopia structure deck. And yeah, because it's not craftable, you're going to be spending 500 gems per copy. And if that's what you want to play, then that's what it's going to cost you. They're definitely replaceable with something else. Maybe you want to play with like a generator engine just so that you can generate additional machines and stuff. But that's completely up to you. And that's kind of the win con of this deck. It's really, really consistent. Just trust me on this one because everything just searches itself. Number 3, it's True Draco. I'm sorry, guys. There's 2 different ways you can play True Draco. One is the classic way you guys already know and hate, which is the Monarch's Erupt way, no extra deck, and play it like Skill Drain, Beatdown, Unga Bunga, Yu-Gi-Oh! However, that's not the only way you can play this deck, and in fact, you might want to reconsider, because think about what this format has killed off in this deck. A lot of the consistency cards, Card of Demise, your pot cards, all of those are super rares and above, and you're going to have to find some way to fill up all those missing slots, and consistency may be the thing that's shot the most. So you might consider running an extra deck, which is the one I'm featuring here, and shout outs to Hanko Chow for basically beating me with his deck, so I'm going to share it with you guys, which is playing a bit of a Tenyi engine, and maybe you can even consider a little bit of a Monarch engine in there, because this is still basically a tribute-based deck, but mainly most of these monsters are worm-based. For the Tenyi engine, I shoved in here Heavenly Dragon Circle, because you can tribute a worm monster to search a different worm monster, so you can quickly get access to your Majesty's Maiden, you can get your Ignis Heat out on the board very, very quickly, and you can get that search consistency. And once you can get there, you're able to get your spells, you're able to set up and get your draw power going, and you can even use those Tenyi monsters as additional utility, like the Vishuda, the Adhara. They lock you into worm monsters, but this entire deck is made up of worms anyway, so that really doesn't hinder you at all, and you can use that definitely to bait out resources as well. So that's one way you can kind of keep on chumping and blocking. And this deck, naturally, with the spells, you get additional tribute summons, and you get to pop back row. With the trap cards, you get to pop front row, and you get to control the board. And yes, they did put a little bit of limitation on this deck, which is Dreyarth III. That one's semi-limited, and your True Draco Apocalypse is limited to 1. And of course, you don't have access to Dynamite Knight, so that's going to be one of the biggest limitations when it comes to searching out your traps. But ultimately, it's a big beat stick deck. You're able to maintain a lot of card advantage, and you're able to search stuff, making it very cumbersome for your opponent to play against you. Number 2, Metalfoes. This is a classic meta deck at its debut. Like, in terms of its full powerness, it does have everything available except for a couple of cards that were released later on, and they don't have Metalfoes Fusion, but that can easily be replaced by a Para-Metalfoes Fusion, which is arguably better than the original Metalfoes Fusion if you're playing pure Metalfoes, because you can fuse monsters in your extra deck to create some of the most powerful fusion monsters that this deck has to offer. Most of this deck's utility and win con exist in the extra deck, as well as in the form of trap cards. For the trap cards, you have Metalfoes Counter, and you have Combination. Combination, if it's sent to the graveyard from the field, you get to add a Metalfoes monster into your hand, so that's going to be really useful. And then if for the Metalfoes trap card counter, whenever a card is destroyed, you get to summon out a Metalfoes monster from your deck, so that's really good for consistency and keeping you alive with a bit of survivability. But for the extra deck utility, you have a spot remover such as Mithrilium, target a card on the field, and 2 cards in your graveyard that's Metalfoes related. Shuffle the 2 cards in the graveyard back into the deck, and you get to put 1 card back onto the hand. So that's really useful for spot removal and cycling out your fusion spells, so you can keep using it over and over and over again. As for the aggressor of the deck, you have Metalfoes Orichalc, turns all of your Metalfoes monsters into double damage piercers, so you can pierce through, making all defensive monsters a liability, so that they'll have to take damage regardless of how you play. And even if you remove Orichalc, it pops a card on the field, making it very difficult to remove unless they want to trade 1 for 1 or trade poorly, whatever it is that they're going to do. Now there's one more boss monster in here, which is going to be Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. Typically it's already going to be in there, but I had included an additional monster in there. You guys might be wondering, what is that extra monster in the deck? The one that is a pendulum, that's Odd Eyes Performable Odd Eyes Dissolver. It's a hand trap for pendulum monsters. Whenever a pendulum monster battles, you can activate this card from your hand, special summon it, and your monster cannot be destroyed by battle. Yeah, how's that? Isn't that pretty nice? So there's that going on for it, and that happens during the damage calc, so that's pretty nice, so they can't switch attack targets. But what's more important is that on the field, it is a poly as well as a material for poly, so you have to use her as a material, and then you get to fusion summon something. And what you get to fuse is you can fuse from your pendulum scales or any monster on the field, and the perfect monster for that is going to be Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, because you cover for the important material, which is going to be the Odd Eyes monster plus 1 pendulum, so you get yourself an Omni Negate and you get to bounce the monster back. So that's why that card is the shortcut. You don't have to go into the Absolute Dragon every time, because if you commit to Absolute Dragon, you're going to lose 2 Volflames, and those are going to go to the graveyard. So this deck is really, really scary and very aggressive as well. Deck number 1, Magispector. At this point, I got my money on Magispectors. Why? They might not have the strongest stat line, but they are definitely just the best in terms of defense, because they're immune to everything that's good in the format. I looked at a lot of people's lists that they're like, oh, this is the best deck. They've got the best control. I'm like, well, I can normal summon a Magispector and not care about your Fogblade, Book of Moon, your Fiendish Chain, Torrential Tribute. Nothing matters, because all Magic Spectre monsters, they're immune to targeting, and they're also immune to card effect destruction. You can't target them, and they cannot be destroyed by card effects. So what do you have left anyway? You can't even use your Paleozoic Dinomischus. So playing against this deck is going to be very, very troublesome for a lot of players. And not only that, all the monsters, if you summon them, special or normal, they give you card advantage. You get the search cards, you get the add cards, and you have the field spell to just tether each monster out. And you also have a pot of greed in terms of Pendulum Halt. If you have 3 or more pendulum monsters with different names in your extra deck, you get to draw 2 cards, as long as you don't add any more cards for the rest of the turn. So you could just add all your cards and then play the card, draw 2 more cards, and now you can just keep going. It's just ridiculous on how strong this deck is in terms of its spell trap lineup. It's got everything that you would have played anyway, such as like removal. You have Cyclone and Tornado, one being a banish and one being a destruction. All of them can be activated during your opponent's turn because they're all basically quick play spells and trap cards. They've got their own Solemn Strike that's searchable, so if you attempt to do a special summon, they'll just negate and destroy it, or if you activate a monster effect, they'll just negate and destroy that. I don't know what else I can say about this. They also have an auto win button by equipping a Moonmirror Shield, because what's the worst case scenario when it comes to a monster that cannot be destroyed by card effects and cannot be targeted? Well, you destroy it by battle, but Moonmirror Shield makes it so that it wins every battle, so what are you going to do about it? You have to remove Moonmirror Shield, but if you remove Moonmirror Shield, it's just going to put itself back to the top of the deck and just keep doing this stupid cycle where you just can't even battle anymore. So yeah, even like a lot of the cards like Malevolent Sin, you can't target the card, so they're stuck eating it, and they can also double the damage or double the attack stat of their monster with their own spells. And once they successfully pendulum summon just once, you'll realize how much card advantage you're behind. Like if they summon like 3 monsters, that's 3 monsters and then +3 on their side, and you're gonna have to eat their entire board all over again, and it is very, very difficult. And trust me on this one, it is ridiculously strong, especially with Moonmirror Shield. It's just crazy good, and that's why this one is the #1. That's all I got for this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, smash that thumbs up button. I know there are other decks out there. You guys are like, oh, where's the Megalith? Where's the Generators? Where's the Pacifist deck? Those are all really strong decks as well. I didn't get to test them, and I didn't really see too much of it during the stream testing, but I'm pretty sure those are all still pretty solid options you guys definitely can try. I don't have a deck list for them, so I can't really showcase it to you guys anyway. But one deck I do know that is not very good, that is overhyped, it's gotta be Yosenju's. It is so slow. Unless you open with a Kama 3 and a Kama like 1, it is going to be a drag to play, and once you get torrential at the wrong timing, you're gonna die. You need that scale face up to prevent your cards from being destroyed by card effects, but let me tell you, the consistency of that deck is almost non-existent. It went 0-4 in the event that we hosted during the stream. It was just terrible, so I don't really recommend it. If you guys have a really strong Yosenju list, go ahead and give it a try, but it was completely outclassed by the ones that we were mentioned here in this video today. So you guys let me know. That's all I got for this video. So if you guys enjoyed, smash that thumbs up button, hit the like, subscribe, ding the notification bell, and I guess I'll see you guys